Ever heard that saying, the quiet ones are the ones you really got to watch out for? Well, that's exactly the kind of story we're diving into today. We're going to uncover the fascinating rise of Noel Tata. Now, you might know his brother better, Ratan Tata, the big name, right? But what's really interesting about Noel is how different his leadership style is. It's all about playing the long game, staying out of the spotlight, and quietly achieving some pretty remarkable things. This article you sent over, the one from mydognews.com, really caught my eye. It talked about how Noel built an empire but prefers to operate away from the noise. What does that even look like in the crazy competitive world of business? I'm really curious to dig into that.
It's a great question, because we're so used to thinking that leadership is all about being flashy and attention grabbing. But then you look at someone like Noel Tata, and it reminds you that real lasting influence often works in much subtler, more strategic kind of ways.
Almost like he's playing 4D chess while everyone else is stuck with checkers?
I like that analogy. And to really understand his moves, we need to rewind a bit, go back to his roots. Noel's upbringing, well, it was far from ordinary. We're talking international schools, a degree from the University of Sussex, and then an executive program at NSED. That's basically a breeding ground for global leaders.
Yeah, that's not your typical story of someone starting at the bottom and climbing their way to the top. So are we saying his success is all about privilege?
It's definitely a factor, you can't deny that, but it's not quite so simple, you know? This kind of upbringing, especially in a powerful business family like the Tatas, it's often about deliberate cultivation. Think of it like a master class in leadership,
Mm.
but it's carefully curated for the next generation to take over.
Like a farm system, but for billionaires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where we start to see Noel's path diverge from his more, shall we say, high-profile family members.
Yeah.
He could easily just stepped into the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
But he chose something different. He starts at Tata International, takes on more and more responsibility gradually, proves himself every step of the way. You see,
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so he's not out there chasing headlines. He's focusing on building his expertise, working his way up within the Tata network. But what really struck me reading this article was what he accomplished with that experience. The article, it mentions how he took Tata International, and I mean, he grew it exponentially from like a $500 million business to a $3 billion powerhouse. And we're not just talking about numbers on a spreadsheet here, right? We're talking about the results of some serious strategic decisions.
absolutely, you're right. And it's important to remember the context here.
Mhm.
This growth, it didn't happen in a vacuum. This was during a time of massive change, a lot of uncertainty in the global economy.
Mhm.
It wasn't just about riding a wave. It was about navigating some seriously choppy waters.
Mm.
And he did it with, foresight, a steady hand on the wheel.
Mhm.
That really says a lot about the kind of leader he is.
It's like that old saying, right? A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. He didn't just get lucky, he earned it.
Exactly. And, his work with Trent, the retail side of the Tata Group, that really drives this point home. When he took charge there, Trent had like one store, just one. By the time he was done, boom, 700 branches all across India.
Mhm.
He even managed to acquire Littlewoods.
Littlewoods.
Yeah, it was a struggling British brand,
Mm.
and he turned it into Westside. Hugely successful now, a whole department store chain in India.
Talk about a retail revolution. But you know where it gets really interesting for me? The article, it kind of hints at this long-standing speculation
Right.
about Noel, maybe, possibly, becoming the chairman of the whole Tata Group. We're talking about a conglomerate with like over $100 billion in revenue,
Right.
impacting millions of lives.
Absolutely.
So to understand just how big of a deal that would be, we got to talk about the Tata Trust, right?
Right.
Because the Tata Group, it's not like most global corporations, right? They're not just answering to shareholders.
No, they're not.
The majority of the ownership, it's held by these trusts.
Yeah.
And these trusts, they're philanthropic organizations.
Right, they are.
Dedicated to social good, making a difference.
Exactly.
So it's like we're talking about a group of foundations, right? But instead of just giving out grants, they're actually holding the reins of this massive business empire.
Yeah, it's a unique structure, for sure.
That's a whole other level of responsibility, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely it is. It's deeply ingrained in, the whole Tata legacy. And these trusts, they have a huge influence on the direction of the whole group. It's not just about financial success, it's about social impact as well.
Right, it's about values.
Exactly.
And Noel Tata, he's been involved with these trusts for years, right?
Oh, yeah, he's held some pretty key leadership positions.
Steering their initiatives, understanding their values.
Absolutely. He's been right in the thick of it.
It's really incredible when you think about it. It's like we're getting this rare glimpse, this behind the scenes look at how one of the most influential business empires in the world actually operates. It's not just about, profits and market share. It's about something much bigger. It's about legacy. It's about impact. It's about values that have been passed down for like generations.
You're absolutely right. And that's where Noel Tata's story, it takes on this whole other level of meaning. It's not just about, will he or won't he become the chairman? It's about how his approach to leadership, this quiet, understated style, it really reflects the core ethos of this really unique conglomerate.
It makes you wonder, right? Like, could that be one of the reasons he's been so successful at navigating these really complex family dynamics, the business structures, all of it? Maybe it's his ability to build consensus, to work behind the scenes that makes him such an effective leader, especially in this kind of environment.
It's definitely an interesting thought, and I think it speaks to the limitations we often place on our understanding of what leadership really is. We tend to think of it as, charisma, someone who commands attention, a big personality. But Noel Tata, his journey suggests that real leadership can also thrive in the quiet spaces. It's about cultivating relationships carefully, strategically. It's about having that long-term vision and executing it step by step.
So it's not just about what he's achieved, it's how he's achieved it.
Exactly. He hasn't sought the spotlight, but he's consistently delivered remarkable results. He's navigated these intricate family and corporate structures, but he's always stayed true to the core values of the Tata Group. It's really a masterclass in understated influence.
It's like he's playing a different game altogether. Not the game of ego or short-term wins, but the game of legacy and impact, of building something that will last for generations.
And that's the beauty of these deep dives, wouldn't you say? We get to uncover these hidden layers, these alternative narratives of success that really challenge our assumptions. It's about seeing the world through a different lens, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a good reminder that sometimes, often actually, the most powerful leaders are the ones who don't need to shout about it. It's like they say, actions speak louder than words.
Couldn't agree more. So as you continue to, explore the world of leadership, think about the people who are making a real impact. Keep an eye out for those quiet giants,
Yeah.
the ones who operate below the radar, but their influence is undeniable.
This has been a fascinating conversation, eye-opening, really. It makes you think about leadership in a whole new way, all the different shapes and sizes it can take. And on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into the fascinating world of Noel Tata. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deeper into the stories that matter.